es la voz de LA. It's like Cuna Galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell a hater shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goles during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to an emergency La Cuna Galaxiana stream. Thank you so much for being here with us once again. We thought we were done for 2025, but we are back with an emergency stream because why? We love you, and this one's always made with love, and we thought we needed to bring you the best and brightest and latest news of the day, but because we honestly just missed y'all. So today, the news of the day, like I mentioned, the LA Galaxy has added another vital piece to the roster by addressing once again an area of need with their latest signing of free agent Justin HAAK. The Galaxy beat off several teams for the native Brooklyn Knights and NYCFC's homegrown signature, and now have another player to help Greg Vanney's team get back to the top of the pile. We'll break down what we think of the deal, the particulars, how the Galaxy could use HAAK, and what this means long-term for the futures of their current backline. We'll grade the Galaxy's window so far, analyze if they are winning the transfer window, and what's still missing. Plus, a bevy of birthdays happened in Galaxylandia, all that and more coming up on La Cuna Galaxiana. But before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halonian. You can always find my written work at the Sporting Tribune. And indeed, I dropped an article today, so go ahead and check that out at the Sporting Tribune. And of course, since I'm here, you know what it is. My co-host, the Cosmopolitan one, joining us from across the pond, back in the other land, Anandita Kirana, El Yerno Guapo, y El Gitano Perdido. And most importantly, y'all, El Papá de Natita. Hey, good morning to you, man. How was that cafecito treating you?
Salud, everyone. Salud. My morning cafecito. Again, these early morning streams. We try to do this one during the day, guys. We were just talking backstage. Try to do this one during the day so that like I'm got a little more pep in my step. But you know what? Breaking news. I got some pep in my step, and I got me cafecito. So salud to all of you from the other side of the pond, from the other land.
Yeah, for damn sure. And you should have some pep in your step. Santa Kuntz came to visit us once again. And we want to say gracias to our brother G-Cam for his $2 super chat. He says, "Tu y yo." Oh, and if you're not on game, JP dropped some more heat. So thank you for G-Cam reminding us of those JP bangers. And JP has dropped another one. So go ahead and check that one out. Y'all saw it. I mean, you can go ahead and drop a super chat in there, and you know we'll go ahead and address any question, any comment that you may have, and go ahead and let us know what's on your mind. Until then, you know we're gonna get on moseying in on into this podcast, this emergency podcast here. But before we go any further, Ananda, we usually do the one-word reaction here to games, but I mean, one-word reaction perhaps to the transfer window so far?
Oh, good question. I mean, so many words. Okay, so the one that comes to mind, Papa, and I'm going to give you one word, and then you ask me if you want the explanation.
Yeah.
Necessary. I know you use that word a lot for like games and stuff, but this is necessary. That's my reaction to the window so far.
I think I get it. I mean, you certainly feel free as you're holding your espresso to expand. But I think I get it. Let me see if you know I'm on track with you. So go ahead and break it down.
Well, this is for you, but also for everyone listening to the show. I mean, if you listen to the show and been with us this last season covering the 2025 season, you'll know that I've made the case multiple times that you know, one of the biggest culprits of the 2025 season was that we got the spine of this team completely ripped out, Rob.
Ripped out.
From Dejan Jovalic all the way to, well, unfortunately, the injury of Ricky Puig, right? The departures of Mark Delgado, Gaston Brugman, the decline of Maya Yoshida, right? And really, at the end, a nightmare in goalkeeper, which is the goalkeeper carousel. So you put all those things together, and on top of all the injuries and salary cap things and everything like that, and we needed to rebuild that spine. And so this summer is necessary, and we are almost there, but we're well on our way to rebuilding that spine.
Like it. I like it. Transfer window's not over yet, but if you had to give the Galaxy a transfer window grade so far, and chat, feel more than free to go ahead and drop a grade so far for the window. Obviously, it's not over. We know Santa Kuntz is gonna go back in and see what his sleigh has for us, but yeah. Ananda, do you have any grades so far, or maybe an incomplete, or maybe pending this?
Yeah, I would say right now it's probably a C plus B minus, maybe closer to a B minus. Like, but I think we're missing a couple of pieces, maybe an exit, Rob, or a sale to fund that, right? Like, we'll see how creative Will Kuntz gets. But if you told me at the beginning of the season that before 2025 ends, we were going to be halfway into rebuilding the spine and have 2 defensive signings first, I would have told you no way. Right. So this right now I'm in a state of somewhat shock. But anyways, what about you, man? Let the people know what you've got in mind. What's your one word and what's your transfer grade so far?
Honestly, when I heard, I mean, obviously the Glesnes thing. I mean, we had Tommy Booger on the show. Humble brag.
Shout out.
And also sidebar, check out the back catalog, sidebar, subscribe as well if you want to know when we have guests like Tommy Bogart on. He was saying that even that deal kind of like surprised everybody really in the league that covers MLS and that covers the Galaxy. I mean, we didn't think the Galaxy had the resources, so for them to turn around and get Glesnes and then to get Justin HAAK when we presume that they had no resources, I mean, Cones, Papa. I mean, when I heard, I was like, Chale. Like he keeps on doing it. I mean, Marvin says, "Do you smell what the Kuntz is cooking?" I wasn't really like. I mean, y'all know that meme, the Shaq. I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with the game. I was familiar with the game, and I'm still caught unawares. Like he's doing it. I mean, yeah, I mean, if I had to say one word, it's Chala, but really it's more like this sentiment of like, damn, like he's really just getting this done when I really thought he had nothing to play with and we were going to have to. I mean, Tommy said we were going to see incomings based on outgoings, and so far it's been incomings. I mean, you gotta feel like there's going to be some outgoings as well, but so far it's just been like all good news. And yeah, so far pending the one key piece that we've already talked about a couple of times, even with Tommy, that we need, and we'll get into more of that in a little bit. But pending that one piece, if the Galaxy were to add a serviceable 9, they would absolutely get a B plus A for this window, addressing all the needs. So anyway, Ananda, but
so your one word is cooking.
Hey, you know that scene in Mrs. Doubtfire where he finally gets his shit together and he finally puts like a good meal on the table? Yeah, that's that feeling, man. Like just like picturesque, Papa. Like he's again just he knows what he's doing. Who would have known? Who would have known, right? We do have a super chat. from the brother Jakob said, would you guys use one of those silver bullet contract buyouts? If you're the only dude that used it on Zanka, what is your take on this? Yeah, I mean, the podfather Josh Kessman's already covered this one a couple times about how it's going to be rather difficult to move Zonka's contract. I mean, the conditions aren't good. It's multi-year. It's elevated. People have seen him play. I mean, no shade to him, and he just maybe just isn't built for MLS or what have you. But the fact is that I don't think the Galaxy are going to get what the Galaxy paid for him or the resources that they put into it. So yeah, I probably would. I mean, I think they have 2 now a year, so use one of them here. I mean, it frees you up on some cap space. You can reinvest it into the team. But what about you, Ananda?
I was gonna say, if it's a necessary evil to get to the other piece that you're talking about, I would, right? But then again, I don't know what finagling and massaging and Will Kuntz is doing right now with the salary cap, because we don't know again how much we're against the cap, right? I didn't even know we had space for these guys, and then all of a sudden they just show up at our doorstep, Christmas morning. So there you go, right?
Yeah, no, I mean it's been fantastic so far. Like you said, it's been like Christmas morning. But before we go on into the particulars of this deal, anything else to add? Any housekeeping that you want to get through before we get into this deal proper, man? I mean, this was such that it necessitated an emergency stream and me waking it on asses up. Like, hey, wake up, son. We got to talk about this. So that's why we're here. But before we get into it, Ananda, let us know any housekeeping.
Yeah, no, you talked about it already, but go ahead, guys. If you have not yet, go ahead and sub to this YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you guys know when we come on live, like these emergency streams. Like, we didn't know we were going to have another show till at the end of the year, and then Will Kuntz decides in the LA Galaxy front office to drop a couple of truth bombs on us. So there you go. And of course, as I always say, you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Cuna Galaxiana. Both of our handles are right there. You can find Rob there at El Escudero de LA. Just to repeat, he did say he did drop an article today on this new signing. So go ahead and check that out, guys. But also, maybe a little plug or shout out to all of our friends in the Galaxy Network. I know Alex Ruiz dropped a really good article detailing Justin HAAK's strengths and weaknesses in his Galactic Tribune article. Go ahead and check that out. And then Tommy Scoops on The Athletic breaks down. We're going to break down a little bit too of what he talked about in the deal, the mechanics of the deal. I think the length of the contract is interesting, Rob. That's definitely a talking point that we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about. Yeah.
So all of that good stuff. Go ahead and follow everyone on our network. And then what else, Rob? So I think, who is it? Maybe Anthony said it earlier. Go ahead and hit the like button on your way in or on your way out the door. That would be greatly appreciated. And then Rob already talked about the super chat. So, papá, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo, the emergency stream de la Cuna Galaxiana.
Emergency.
Now I'm serious. The last one of 2025. Serious. For real.
Well, there's only 2 days left. But hey, check it out. Really good things to point out. New Dig 1 has 2 comments here. NFC is an allocation of 200 racks for each team that does not make the postseason. So that's one. I mean, they get a lot of money there. And then follows that up with another comment. Qualification for the CONCACAF Champions League allocation of $140K for each qualified team. So that's $340K, that they picked up, that they can reinvest into a player, most likely already have.
Is that now GAM, RAM, TAM? Thank you, ma'am.
Who knows, man? It could be monopoly money. With how MLS is. No, but I actually don't know. I mean, New Dig. I mean, I'm not sure if you know. Go ahead and drop it. Let us know. But either way,
because I sure as hell don't.
Yeah, I mean, on the roster stuff. I mean, really good resource for that is of course the Podfather, is of course El Profe Alex Ruiz. But yeah, I mean, that's it doesn't matter whether it's GAM, RAM, real money. It's resources, right? At this point, you just got to look at it all as right. Resources, right? Like when you're playing those video games, you're not like, okay, this is what this is what I mean. Obviously, yeah, you're classified, but at the end of the day, it's all just resources that help you beat the game. And so what is beating the game? Getting that MLS Cup trophy at the end of the year. And you bet your ass that Will Kuntz is working, just like Ananda said, every possible angle to come up on the resources that he needs to retool this team. And he's already done that by adding Jakob Glesnes, and now by adding the prize of the free agency, Justin HAAK. Ananda, we already knew this was pretty much going to happen because Tom Bogert had reported on this a couple of days ago, so that it was approaching the finish line. And today he made it official. The Galaxy as well made it official via press release. The defensive rebuild continues. Just 2 weeks after announcing Jakob Glesnes, Santa Kuntz has brought in another big gift for Galaxy fans. He has further fortified this roster by signing Justin HAAK. The team announced that they had signed the midfielder / center back to a 1-year guaranteed contract through the end of 2026 with the club option for 2027. The 24-year-old joins the Galaxy after spending his entire career, 7 seasons with NYCFC, a homegrown player, made 57 starts and 81 appearances for his boyhood club. Last year was the year that HAAK really emerged. He played in 34 matches, all starts, recording 1 goal and 4 assists, and emerged as that center back, which, you know, we've talked about his versatility a little bit, but he is traditionally a center defensive midfielder, but last year he emerges that center back, and while doing so, led NYCFC to the Eastern Conference final where they lost to Inter Miami. Indeed, and I kind of went back and checked how much midfield he actually played. After the League's Cup, he only featured, at least in a starting role, as a defensive midfielder twice. And we always talk about one of those things that is lovely about players is the best ability is availability. This man started all 43 competitive matches that NYCFC played last year, and he did it at a high level. Will Kuntz, what does that man have to say? Santa Kuntz says Justin is a positionally versatile player who will be able to contribute in several roles. His growth from homegrown academy signing to every game starter is a testament to his work ethic, his technical ability, and his defensive instincts. We look forward to Justin's contributions to the Galaxy as we continue to put together a competitive squad for the 2026 season. Ananda.
You sure are, Will. You sure are putting it together a competitive squad so far.
Yeah, as you look at all this, man, I mean, one of the things that I kind of am struck by as I read kind of the chatter and I see some reaction to this is how, you know, we talked about Zanka a little while ago, how when he was brought in, Anderlecht fans were basically like, oh man, we got rid of him finally, like, thank you, LA Galaxy, for taking him off our hands, right? Whereas the reaction to Justin HAAK is very, very sad, not only from a fan perspective, from a teammate perspective, but from a press perspective as well. I read commentary from some members of the press corps there that cover NYCFC regularly, and they all say that he's a wonderful guy to talk to. And I mean, that's you couldn't ask for anything more, right? Where you see that not you don't want to see sadness from people, but like when you see these players come in, you see kind of like that opposing fan base go, damn, like they got one on us, you know, they took him from us, you know.
Well, and on top of that, if you read comments that say, oh, you know, we'll find a replacement, no problem, you can smell the saltiness, right? It's obvious because a lot of the sentiment is going the other way, right? So that's another, for me, a telltale sign as well.
Yeah, and the saltiness gets even bigger because Tom reported that, and it wasn't just Tom, it was a lot of pundits at the national level. You know, Jason was one of Weeby was one of them. Doyle's another one that was talking about how HAAK was on their top free agent lists, and he definitely was very sought after. He very much represents a coup for the Galaxy because they beat a lot of teams to a signature, not only just in the league and domestically, but teams in Europe were looking at him as well. And so the fact that he turns down more money and guaranteed years or guaranteed terms with his boyhood club to join the Galaxy, I mean, I know that's going to pump Galaxy fans up. I know that's going to endear him to them. I mean, it's said that outgoing NYCFC president David Lee, that relationship between him and HAAK had soured to the point where by the time he offered him more money, more guaranteed years, it was too little too late. But just the fact that he chose the Galaxy over his boyhood club, more money, more guaranteed years, that's gotta be big. I mean, that's gotta, do something to your heart, right, Ananda?
Yeah. Now the other thing is, which we'll get into, I think that the flip side of that argument, though, that people could question is, okay, that's great, but maybe because of the flexibility, maybe that's a huge reason why he chose the Galaxy. And maybe on the Galaxies, as a fan, maybe you wanted to secure more years of his service. We'll get into that, but I think that's the flip side of that argument, right? Perhaps.
Yeah, I think the homie Marvin in chat is trying to say what I was thinking about earlier. I was trying to write this article, and I was going to use this as a subtitle and say the real HAAK Tua joins Los Angeles. And then I realized, yeah, my editor probably wouldn't like that. So yeah, but
getting your credentials pulled right away.
But what a way to go, right? Look at that headline, the real HAAK Tua. But anyway, yeah, you mentioned, we would talk about the terms of this deal. 2 years. I mean, the first year is 2026. Obviously, the second year is that club option for 2027. So this is one of the things that I kind of struck me first about the deal, and I think I mentioned it to you like almost immediately when we spoke earlier today. Is that I was kind of struck that it was only 2 years. I mean, you look at this guy, he's 24 years old, and who could be kind of the backbone or part of that spine that you keep on talking about for years to come. Instead, they keep him for only 2 years according to this contract. So, I was kind of wondering why that might be. What I came up with was what I kind of saw a couple different times or a couple different takes online, is that, the Galaxy want to have the flexibility to move him on to Europe should he so choose, which kind of makes sense. But I present you a opposite theory via Matt Doyle, who I kind of like his theory a lot, who says basically that this deal breaks down the way it does because of some obscure collective bargaining agreement stuff. And he says that to even really understand it, you got to be an MLS sicko and just like a bargaining agreement sicko. And I was like, oh, great. That's what I love to study and read about. So I try to get into some of it. But anyway, he breaks it down into that this deal basically comes down to a segment from the CBA, which was signed ahead of the 2021 season. And Doyle explains that HAAK, for reference, made $265,000 guaranteed comp last year, which meant because of his age and because of his time with NYCFC, they could now offer him whatever they wanted to for this contract, which means that no other MLS team, the Galaxy included, could even approach that. All they could pay him was $828,000, which was the max salary for 2026 plus $25K, I guess, which is not specified, but I guess that's in bonuses. I'm not really sure. Doyle goes on to explain his hypothesis, which is that, and he does say that this is kind of what he thinks is going on, not what has been reported, not what we have 100% in stone, but this is a kind of interesting theory. So I'm putting it out there. He goes on to say, in this case, the Galaxy gave HAAK a 1-on-1 deal. He says, I will bet my life savings that the first year of the deal is that 828K number, with the second year a mutual option that the Galaxy will only exercise if HAAK suffers some kind of devastating injury. Basically, it's for his protection. So he's saying that the Galaxy have that second year just in case HAAK gets injured in some way, shape, or form. The flip side of that, he says, if he doesn't suffer an injury of that sort, I will now bet my doubled life savings that he declines the option and heads back into quote unquote free agency, which the Galaxy at that point, he and the Galaxy turn around and then sign a long-term guaranteed deal, which he and the Galaxy agree to at a larger number than what NYCFC originally offered. So it's basically kind of like gentleman's agreement, winking agreements behind, closed doors. I've already seen reaction to this kind of hypothesis that is kind of funny, like going, oh, this kind of dealing should be punished by the league. There's no way to prove any of this is actually real. But Doyle goes on to say about that second deal that HAAK would be getting with the Galaxy. He says that second contract is where it's at for MLS free agents under the current CBA. I'd bet that HAAK will be 100% worth it for the Galaxy, who have done smart business here. So, yeah, I mean, it eventually basically balances out because you'd expect the Galaxy to get HAAK for a couple more years at more guaranteed money, and they're not doing that. They're just getting the 1 year, possibly the 2 years, and then they're turning around and flipping that and signing them for more years and more money. So over the long term, I think it balances out, right, Ananda? Or would you disagree?
No, I think, well, again, I that's an interesting, that was the first time of me listening or reading that. So I think that's an interesting sort of perspective. But the fact that it's a club option, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, because I'm still circling my head around the deal.
It is a club option.
I mean, the Galaxy still have the power, quote unquote, right? They still have the leverage in that case. So in the case of an injury, etc. Now, the other thing that I'm thinking about too is, if you look at, I've talked about this a couple of times, but if you look at especially the contracts of our DPs, most of those, 2 out of the 3 DP contracts are all the way up to 2027 as well. I believe PEX runs to 2028. So I'm sure the front office is looking at this next, I would say, 2-year window, really. Let's not count the 6-month season, MLS is back 2.0, like in between.
That's gonna be so baller. I'm so looking forward to that little mini season.
So not counting that, but like really that's what you're looking at, right? Is the next 2.5-year window, quote unquote. And so I think those contracts too are sort of lining up in that way. Glesnes, I believe his contract even runs out to 27 or 28. I can't remember. It's a 2 to 3 year window. So I'm thinking about that as well. Just trying to line up all those contracts in that. The Galaxy are really making a run for it, Papa. Like next year, I'm pretty sure Will Kuntz is like, we've got to be back in the title contention. And putting my fan hat on, that's what you always say, like from your lips to the Lord's ears, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The tools are starting to be put there. I almost don't even want to say it, but like, no excuses. But anyway, we'll talk about that another day. We're not going to rain on anybody's parade right now. We'll let the work do the talking. Ananda, you are our stats guy. What did you think about this deal from a pros and cons perspective in terms of the player's ability, like his skill set?
Yeah, and it's one I had to look up to because obviously, Rob, being in the Western Conference, we don't get to see a lot of these Eastern Conference teams, right? So I'm actually pretty excited. Like as soon as we get these deals, the deals are over the line, but especially as we get into next season, as we look at our opponents, which interestingly enough man, that, by the way, guys, get your tickets for that home opener February 22nd against NYCFC, because now that becomes a doozy, right? Now that becomes a barn burner of a game. But again, we don't get to see these teams a lot. So, you know, I'm looking at scouting reports, I'm looking at the data, but let's look at just a quick snapshot of the data, Rob, to see, you know, what kind of player are we getting now. Let me just walk you through this, guys, because of course he is versatile. So I did put sort of both numbers up when you compare it, his numbers against center backs, and then when you compare him against midfielders. But as Rob said earlier, post Leagues Cup, he started only two matches at DM. So he was fully converted into that left back position. And Rob, if I'm not mistaken, I looked back at the data too, all of his 44 starts or 43 starts, a majority of those were at center back. I believe he only played 13 or 14 matches in totality in that DM position. But, you know, I think the first thing that sticks out to me, if you look at his strengths, Papa, is just his passing. You look at those progressive stats on the left, progressive passes, progressive carries, successful take-ons. I mean, of course, if you're comparing that from a center back or like an anchor position, he's really good at that. He's really good at breaking the lines. And, you know, one of the things I think about last year, without the services of Ricky Puig, our ability to progress the ball and this is something that, like, as I think about how Kuntz is reshaping that spine, this is a move that makes a lot of sense, because without Ricky Puig, it was difficult for the Galaxy to progress the ball. And when we progress the ball quickly, as I've said in 2024, I thought we were most dangerous in semi-transition or transition. And that means getting the ball up quickly to those wingers in those attacking positions. I think last year, a lot of the buildup was very labored. So if you have a guy like Justin HAAK who can break the lines from that deep lying position, that now unlocks the that now unlocks your wingers. And so it's going to be that's a really big asset to have in that back line. The other thing too, Papa, like, if you look at that block status or that block stat, 90th percentile, 1.68, right? That just shows you he's committed. Like, you look at the block stat, usually a player with high blocks are willing to get their bodies in front of shots, crosses. You know, they're willing to put their body on the line, right? So that just, to me, that shows a very high level of defensive commitment. I think Maya shows that as well. But again, his reactions, and maybe he's just getting a little bit older, he doesn't get to those as much as he used to. But you look at, you know, you think about like committed defenders. I think that's what we're getting in Justin HAAK. And the other thing too is, I was confused about this, and this doesn't really show up in the stats, Papa, but he's pretty two-footed. Like, I look at FB Ref, and it shows that he's classified as a right footer. But if you look at, I know Alex Ruiz put a highlight package in his article. I've seen a couple highlight packages, and it's like he's very comfortable with both feet. And so I think that's like a huge asset to have, especially like you can play him at right center back, you can play him at left center back, you can play him on either flank if you wanted to, right? I think that added, Will Kuntz talked about it in that quote of his, in that blurb, his technical ability. You know, Greg, he likes to keep the ball, he likes to keep possession, and being two-footed, I think, is really important with that technical security. Now, what is he not good at? Well, I think the biggest thing that jumps out is, you look at there in the bottom, aerials 1. I didn't put in a red box, but, you know, he is pretty weak in the air. I mean, he's only 6 foot. If you look at other, you know, center backs or defenders, they're, you know, more than like 6'2", 6'3", like Glesnes, Maya Yoshida, etc. Not strong in the air, but again, the way Will Kuntz is composing this team, Papa, you put him next to an aerially dominant center back, and now you cover his deficiencies, right? And I'm going to get to that a little bit later.
Go back to that chart. This just proves what you were saying. You know, when he plays against, when he plays as a center back, he's in the 19th to 17th percentile clearances in aerials 1. But when he plays as a midfielder, he's in the 99th and 87th percentile. So you put him next to that technically or aerially dominant center back, and he does really well, as evidenced by the data.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, this is why we signed a guy like Jakob Glesnes, because he's very strong in the air. So again, you look at center back partnerships, and it's sort of like a yin and a yang, right? Like one person is usually the anchor, one person is usually the more physically dominant center back, one person has more speed, a la Emi Garza. So again, I think the way Will Kuntz is building this team, I think this is a smart signing, man. Super smart signing. If you look at the skill sets, we might dive into that a little bit as well as we look at this. But there's multiple angles on this, but at face value, this is again, we don't know, like, if we assume that salary is 828 or whatever. This is a shrewd piece of business, 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you've already talked about it. I mean, he's a great passer. He can break the lines. I mean, I was kind of struck how the Galaxy haven't had a center back like that ever since Jalen left. I mean, a really good ball playing center back, and he's going to bring that. And of course, he's a center back / midfielder. But whatever he decides to play, whatever Greg decides to deploy him as, he has that ability. Like I said, he's 2-footed. He's press proven. He can move the ball. He can shuttle the ball well. He can break the lines. Versatile. And not only can it's not one of those things where he's like, oh yeah, he's a midfielder, but he can fill in at center back decently enough. No, he can play both positions at a conference finalist level. I mean, he did it last year. I mean, but more above that, his age, the fact that he's a homegrown, make him invaluable to what Will's trying to do with the salary cap. If he is at that 828, like you said, that is a shrewd piece of business. Just again, the fact that he took less money, just tip my cap to you, sir. You done did it. So now we get into the big questions around this, right? I mean, we know that he comes in and you don't sign a player like Justin HAAK without somebody losing their starting position, right? So what does this mean for a Maya Yoshida or a Zanka? Ananda, what do you think?
Well, let's put it this way. If we thought the door was closing on one of them after the Glesnes signing, that's the question that I asked directly to Tom. Remember, Rob, when we had the stash on, I asked him, was this a 1-in, 1-out move? And he said, ooh, I mean, if I had to bet my house on it, it'd probably Zanka. Again, he's speculating. He doesn't know for sure. But now granted, this is an interesting one because he can play multiple positions. So I'm not sure if it's a complete 1-in, 1-out, but let's count this as now a 1.5-in with Glesnes and him. I mean, it has to spell doom for at least one of them, right? If not both, in my opinion. But again, we're speculating.
Yeah, I don't know if it's even spells doom, but maybe it's one of these players wanted to move on. I mean, we heard that Maya had offers from Japan, so maybe he wants to go back home. Who knows? I mean, that's his hometown team that he supposedly had an offer from. That's kind of tempting to go home and kind of close out your career there and kind of be revered. Why wouldn't you want to take that opportunity? Especially if it's your hometown team that just hit the first division, has some resources as an up and coming. Why not, right? But I mean, we again, yeah, you're right. I mean, this is all speculation. Greg could be like, no, I need all 6 of my center backs for next year. Who knows? But I'd be willing to bet that yes, it spells curtains for one, if not 2 of these players.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier. I mean, one of the big strengths and one of the big pluses of, well, it's hard to look at this deal in isolation too, and I look at them as a package, right? Glesnes and Justin HAAK, like you talked about it earlier. Availability is the best ability, right? Glesnes started 30 out of 31 matches last year in the league. Justin HAAK started all 34 matches, right? Whether it was at DM or center back. So remember last year, Rob, it was a carousel at center back. I don't know how many different starting center back partnerships we had last year, but we were rotating in and out. Yoshida, Zanka, Garces, Rindolph came into the equation, right? So I'm hoping this spells that we now have a more stable, like, backline setup, center back partnership, because these guys are capable of playing 34 out of 34 league matches, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, there wasn't that stability. First,
knock on wood.
Right. First it was the instability at the goalkeeper position, and then when that got settled for a while, it was at the center back position. I mean, it got so bad that at one point, I mean, I even filled in for a game. And you know, your boy got a 10 out of 10 on FOTMob. It was tight. But anyway, no, the Galaxy now have players that can fill in or that can start reliably and are not going to be, you're not going to be wondering, you know, who are going to be your starters. If Greg has his defensive pairing settled up, we know week in, week out what it's going to be. So that's only good for the stability and, like you said, that spine of that team. I don't think, however, that this is HAAK is a like for like replacement for either Yoshida or Zanka. I think the skill set is different. And like we said, we don't know if he's going to be playing more in midfield for Greg than as a center back. I mean, you would imagine that he would play at center back at some point, but as you pointed out, even the press release referred to him as a midfielder. So, in your estimation, Ananda, what does this do to how Greg Vanney wants to play? I mean, there's a couple of different options. I mean, there's the 4 in the back. There's a 3 in the back. What do you think?
I think we don't know. I think the proof is in the pudding, right? But I'll tell you this. It puts more. I think it puts more the pressure and the weight on Greg Vanney to set up this team in the right way to win games. Right now, I think, again, this is a different discussion that maybe we'll have later. But like, I think Greg is now starting to be given all the tools in the toolkit, and I think we're reloading. And I think, you know, hopefully this now puts the pressure squarely back on Greg Vanney, right, to set up his team in the right way. And I'm just going to pull this graphic up really quick. Shout out to LA Galaxy 310. Lex,
what up, Lex?
You know, he even brought up the fact that, and I know a lot of Galaxy fans are thinking, well, maybe this is an opportunity for us to play 3 in the back. Now, granted, the last time we played 3 in the back, it was a complete disaster. That was the disaster at Sports Illustrated Stadium in New York.
Ooh, that was a fun time.
Yeah, that was a disaster. But I mean, he could
shout out little kid
right?
from New York or New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you look at those starting lineups, Papa. I mean, it's starting to look tasty, right? The only thing that we're missing is that number 9. Now we have Christian Ramirez. I think we probably need another number 9, starting level number 9 up there. But you look at that and you say, this is now starting to look like a tasty proposition for the LA Galaxy to start off the season. And again, I think this goes back to now Greg Vanney. Like, maybe it's different horses for different courses. Maybe it's also like, I've even thought about, and this is like when I texted you this morning or you know, earlier in the day, maybe he can play it as an inverted fullback like he does with Mickey Yamane, right? You don't know, because he's completely comfortable stepping in the midfield. And now we build up as a 3-2-5, which Greg liked to do a lot in 2024 with Mickey Yamane stepping into the midfield, being a double pivot, right? Lots of options, lots of tactical flexibility. I think that's what we want. This is what we want. We don't want the excuse of, okay, we don't have you know, there's too many injuries, we lost too many people and because of salary cap, blah, 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 blah. Now we've got the tools. And now it's time for Greg to coach his team.
Can you bring that graphic back, please, sir?
Yes, sir.
I like the idea. Okay, like first, let me preface this by saying that in my time covering Greg, I would say that he is what you once said is described as risk adverse. He has his ways that he wants to play. He has his football philosophy, and he likes to stick to that. And that usually doesn't include 3 in the back. However, I think Justin HAAK's skill set is such that you can play a 3 in the back right now, and you have the players and you have the players with the skill set to perform this magnificently. Only thing I would change from Lex's 3 in the back diagram is playing HAAK in the middle of that 3-back so that he can step into midfield when so called upon, right? And he can kind of overload the midfield that way, kind of like your fullback position that he can kind of step into the midfield that way. But whatever Greg decides to play, I think the point here is that HAAK signing gives him a lot of different looks, a lot of versatility, and a lot of ways to hurt other teams. You don't really know what you're going to get now from the Galaxy if Greg deploys him correctly or keeps teams guessing on how he's going to deploy him. But like I mentioned, since Greg is risk adverse, Ananda, what do you feel like is the best center back partnership now that the Galaxy has? First, I mean, I have two questions for you. What's the best center back partnership for the Galaxy? And then does that kind of come into the conversation for one of the best center back partnerships in the West? So for you, what's the best Galaxy center back partnership?
That's a tough one. It's tough without seeing him play yet, right? Because like that's the other thing too. We haven't talked about Emi Garces, but guys, Emi Garces is when he has his head on straight, and when he doesn't throw a blinder, and when he is in form, Emi Garces is probably one of the best defenders in the league, and that I don't think that's a stretch in saying that. Like, he was the reason that the Galaxy became a good enough defense to win the title in the MLS Cup in 2024, right? So he is still a very key piece of this rotation. So, and I just like you put Garces next to Glesnes, you have that speed, you have the combative ability, you can clear crosses, you have the leadership of Glesnes. That's a thing that he brings a lot too. But then you put HAAK next to Glesnes as well, or even like HAAK and Yoshida. Again, there's so many good combinations. I think in this case, it's hard for me to answer without looking. On paper, it's probably Glesnes and HAAK. But then again, Rob, why can't we be the best defensive trio? Meaning Glesnes, HAAK, and Emi Garces, and HAAK being in that DM position with Serio, right? Like, why don't you? Because what we said before too, like, how many times did the Galaxy let shots either outside of the box or right at the top of the D? Like, how many times did we say, okay, someone step in, no one steps in,
no one
right?
did.
Like, I feel like we said that 20 times in that remember that live stream we did, or the watch along we did with Jose against FC Dallas? Like, so many times. Like, Patrickson or was it Delgado? Yeah, so many times, bro, so many times. And now you've got a guy now that can step into midfield and get into those challenges, right?
Well, I ran a poll on this. Obviously, he's highly touted. He emerged just this year as a center back. So again, you have that versatility, but let's assume that Greg is going to use him as a center back. What was the Galaxy's best center back pairing? I did ask of voters, however, if they would prefer to see a back three, and 46% of voters want to see a back three, with Justin HAAK now joining the Galaxy. But the number one center back pairing voted on was Glesnes and Garces. So I think that if it's a center back pairing, that's what it's going to be. And then HAAK would probably play the defensive midfielder role. But again, you get into all that whole, what is the shape without the ball? What is the shape with the ball kind of thing, So, but there's so many ways, like you said. I mean, even if you kind of make him that right-sided fullback and you make him kind of drift into the middle, that's another look as well. I mean, but this is one of the signings that if the Glesnes signing was transformational, this is foundational, right? I mean, you can build this team around this player if he stays anyway for the next couple of years, right? So saying that, do you think that now with Glesnes, now with HAAK, now with Emi Garces, if Yoshida stays, his experience Can the Galaxy finally be a top defensive team in the West, Ananda? 40 goals or less, perhaps, conceded?
I think they can, and the fact that we're having this conversation, Rob, is already like a sigh of relief, right? It's a breath of fresh air. I mean, how many times could we have said that in the last seasons? Like, hey, this can be a good defensive team, right? So I think the fact that we're even having the possibility of this conversation is already like, okay, from a manpower, from a skill set perspective, like the way this team, the way Will Kuntz is setting up this team, like this is great. Now, the X factor to that, Rob, is whether we can be a good defensive team or not. And I'm going to tie this to, I think, an important point that maybe gets lost in all this, which is now it's all about mentality. Now it's all about application. Defense is less about skill and more so about mentality and application and character. And Rob, what was one of the things that Will Kuntz talked about when he was, talking about how he's recruiting for this LA Galaxy team? He used the words a lot: character, mentality. I mean, I don't know if it's an East Coast thing, and maybe he has like a bias towards East Coast players, but you hear a lot about these East Coast guys having a lot of that grit, a lot of that toughness, like especially in the defensive side of the ball, right? Like that's just like a national thing. I hear that a lot across the national media as well. I hear like Doyle and even Tom and David and Goss, shout out Goss, like talk about that. So he's all Justin HAAK is a fellow Brooklynite, right? He's also from Brooklyn. So I feel like the Galaxy are starting to recruit these high character guys. And Rob, what was one of the things that we were missing last year, especially in that 16 game winless skid or 18 game winless skid, which was just a toughness, huevos, like a toughness, a grit, like someone to just marshal the back line. And we give a goal, like, hey guys, like this is unacceptable. Like I looked at a lot of those highlight packages too with both Glesnes and HAAK, and like they're really good leaders in terms of vocal leaders, right? They're very, very vocal in that back line. So again, if you ask me, can we be a top defensive team? Why can't we be, right? And now just all it comes down to is mentality and application. I think a togetherness too, a defensive togetherness. I mean, we talk about team defense all the time too. Like how well can the Galaxy now collectively defend against transitions and collectively not have lapses off of set pieces, right?
I mean, it's going to be hard to go anywhere but up, right? And I mean, the Galaxy have been so bad defensively for the past couple of years. So it's you would hope that these players come in and kind of automatically make them better, right? But for context, I mean, last year, NYCFC conceded only 44 goals to the Galaxy 66. That's 22 whole goals, man. I mean, that's points left on the table, man. Over the last 3 seasons, the Galaxy 183 goals conceded. That's 61 per season on average conceded. That's still a whole 17 less.
Yeah.
You're leaving whole matches on the table. I mean, that's got to be at least 5 matches that you're just saying, like, you know what, we don't care about those matches just because you're leaking goals. Bigger question is, so Ananda, do these signings, does Glesnes, does HAAK, does this make them instant contenders?
Well, if we said before this Justin HAAK signing, I mean, even Tom said it, right? Even with Glesnes, like the Galaxy are in the top 4, like the top half of the Western Conference conversation now. I think this has, I mean, you put the Galaxy probably now in the mix with LA, FC, San Diego, Vancouver. Well, I don't know. Vancouver's team might get decimated as well. Like they've got some salary cap issues that they have to deal with in re-signing all their players and extending, etc. But I mean, why not? Right now, if we sign a number 9, a la Christian Benteke, for example, now I'm going to say, okay, we are legit contenders and legit to get out of the West, like at least be in the Western Conference final, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've hit it on the head. I mean, we said it a couple times. That's what the Galaxy need. That's what Greg Vanney has called for a couple of times. Not that he'll be complaining for getting Glesnes and for getting HAAK, but Greg wants a striker. Maybe Santa Kuntz will get him one for the holiday season. I think that's what the Galaxy really need to go ahead and finish out the window strongly. If they were somehow to get a new striker and a new this incredible keeper somehow, then that would just be the coup of the year. But I think any Galaxy fan would just be happy with what they've got so far and a striker. And maybe they'll be kind of intent on getting that striker, because it seems like for every move the Galaxy make, their neighbor makes another one. There might be an arms race out west. LAFC just announced the signing of Jakob Schaffelberg today. So Ananda, we've seen him play a couple times for National SC. Good young player. Signed in exchange for $1 million in GAM, $500K in 2026 and $500K in 2027. Nashville retains the sell-on percentage of Schaffelberg is transferred in the future, and the Canadian international is projected to start alongside Sander Bouanga. 2025 was his best year, 4 goals and 3 assists. So it remains to be seen how further LSU will fortify. But what we do know is that these two Los Angeles teams, figure to be towards the top of the table again in 2026. And like Ananda said, you wouldn't put it past Will Kuntz to bring, I think what you said was cook even more. So Ananda, if you had to bet the Galaxy go into the CVI with a new striker as well?
Oh, good question. I hope so. Let's put it that way. I hope so. Right. And again, I hope like it's the name is kind of like someone that we know in terms of MLS proven. Like I look at the free agents board, and like I said, Christian Benteke is a name that sticks out to me. Right. I mean, think about that, Papa. Like I'm going to pull up Lex's thing again. I mean, think about putting Christian Benteke in that position now where, where there's a blank striker spot with Christian Ramirez as backup. I mean, those two guys, yes, they're on maybe the wrong side of 30, but those are two veteran strikers that, again, like we talked about this with Tommy, like you put me, you, or him at striker, I'm pretty sure we can bag like 10 goals, right?
I'll do it.
I know. For years supply of pupusas, I get it.
Yeah, man. It's not even the year supply, man. Give me like 6 months, I'm down. Just you're gonna have to give me like an extra big shirt, but it is what it is. Anyway, it seems like a good time to remind everybody that if you want to follow along with the hijinks here as well as the news here in Galaxilandia and league wide, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. We would love it if you do. If you do, we promise you that Ananda will take a shot with you. He promises. And go ahead and find us on all the socials at Cuna Galaxiana. And now it's time to get into some announcements and get on out of here. Right, Ananda?
Dale.
I'm going to let you tell us about this first one here.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you want more Justin HAAK news or conversations or basically gobbledygook and waffle, you guys can check us out. We are going to be on Goals TV this week, so we are going to do a recording. I think we're going to record sometime tomorrow. And so check that out, guys. I'm sure Jose's going to bring a couple of guests on, but we'll be on with It's Bromigo. And so, yeah, check us out on Goals TV later this week if you want more Justin HAAK convo and maybe, I don't know, maybe some more, maybe more breaking news, Rob. Who knows?
Oh, man, I hope there's some more breaking news. Well, shout out to the new G's. The Galaxy have announced, or not have announced, we saw it happen in real time. They have picked their super draft picks in this year's draft. They selected first defender Palmer Bank from Stanford in the second round, pick number 35 to be exact. Then they selected in the third round goalkeeper Sebastian Conlon from the University of Kentucky. That's number 65 overall. And at number 72 overall, midfielder Jaime Amaro from Bryant University. El madrileño, el español, Anandita.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Actually, that of the three, I'm kind of excited about Amaro. I mean, I read his stat sheet. I haven't seen him, play, but his stat sheet looks very nice. I'm wondering why he fell all the way down to 72. But in any case, it's you have 3 new G's in your history, Galaxy fans. So welcome them with open arms. We have a bunch of birthdays, Ananda, to get through. First, the current G's. Happy birthday to Lucas Sanabria. Happy birthday to Mickey Yamane. And happy birthday to Gino Vivi. Congratulations to all 3 of you. Hopefully you celebrated with friends and family. And then we have a bunch of former G's with birthdays here. Happy birthday to Robin Fraser. Happy birthday to Rafa Garcia. Happy birthday to Ashley Cole. Happy birthday to El Matador Luis Hernandez. And happy birthday to newly appointed NYCFC director Todd Donovan. Happy birthday to all of them. Hopefully they were surrounded by friends and family. Of course, the Galaxy will be seeing Todd Donovan on opening day against NYCFC. Tom Braun recently posted, Ananda, the location of Kobe Jones' statue. From where this is, Ananda, I think this is kind of closer to where the employee entrance is, or like sometimes where like press goes through to get to like press conferences. So not exactly sure without actually being there and having seen it, but just from what I see from where David's is and from where Landon's is, that's where it feels like it is.
On the south side of the fountain.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool because it seems like Kobe will be getting to work and walking by his statue and seeing just how much he means to the Galaxy faithful pretty much every day. So we'll give you all the news as that trophy or rather statue unveiling gets closer. Reminder, the CVI is popping off this year. The Galaxy is participating. They will play February 8th versus the Chicago Fire and February 11th versus St. Louis City SC. Get your tickets now. And a reminder, they are only participating in the first week because they will be getting ready for the Champions Cup the week following. And speaking of the Champions Cup, the Galaxy opened their campaign this year against Sporting San Miguelito, not the Champions Cup campaign, their very first competitive match will be against Sporting San Miguelito on Thursday, February 19th in Panama at 5 p.m. Get your tickets early for that one. That is a small, intimate stadium. Hopefully you see a bunch of G's around you in Panama on Thursday, February 19th. If you do not, then you will see them in the stands for the return leg on Wednesday, February 25th at the Digs at 8 p.m. And, of course, you have your home opener on the 22nd. And, of course, that means the Galaxy have a loaded schedule at the beginning of the year. So there's a lot of time to go ahead and get together with your Galaxy friends and your Galaxy community. 4 games in the first 9 days, y'all. It should be a fun opening part to the season. I'm really looking forward to it. Ananda, I'm really looking forward to getting back with these folk at some point in 2026 now, because as we mentioned, we doubt we'll be back in 2025, right?
Probably not, because we only have two days left, unless there's like breaking news from the stash today or tomorrow that we're about to sign a striker or whatever.
Can you imagine? Louis of the Galaxy drops tomorrow.
Yeah. Exactly. I heard Divock Origi's name out there too. That might be interesting. But anyways, yeah. Probably the last show of 2025, guys. So first of all, before I forget and before we log off here, I just wanted to say, well, hopefully everyone had a great Christmas. Hopefully everyone is enjoying their holidays. And just hopefully everyone has an amazing New Year's Eve. We'll see you back in 2026 officially, but hoping for bigger, better, and brighter in 2026. So happy New Year's to you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah, the flip side is right. I mean, we unless there is a huge stash bomb or just something that huge that drops, we will probably get back with you in the first couple of weeks there of 2026. But before we do, we have a super chat. El hermano GKM says, maybe be treated to a final Tuyo. Yeah, of course you can, man. Great work, gentlemen. And know we all greatly appreciated you both for your hard work and dedication. Met some rad people because of this pod. Gracias. Man, we've met fantastic people because of this pod. It's been a blast. We are looking so forward to season 4. It shouldn't be as much of a downer as season 3. We had a lot of sad fool hours and group therapies, but hopefully 2026 feels more like 2024 in that we're celebrating a lot of different wins and a lot of good memories. And speaking of good memories, I hope you have a bunch of good memories with your friends and family here as we close out this new year, wherever you're at for the new year. Hopefully you ring it in safely and full of love. We have another super chat from XPH. Muchas gracias. Thank you, XPH.
Muchas gracias, XPH.
This is Rob Ananda. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Igualmente.
Looking so forward to seeing you soon at the CVI. The myth, the unicorn, XPH. We will see you soon at the CVI. Yeah, guys, and hopefully we see you soon in 2026. I mean, we say it's an emergency pod, and yes, it's because Justin HAAK was signed, but really, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's because we miss you, and we want to be with y'all. We want to be hanging out with you, and hopefully we get to do that again very soon. From the bottom of our hearts, from Anandita and I, we love y'all. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being here with us every single time we jump on and enjoying our shenanigans until we meet again in 2026. Only one thing left to say, besides folks in the chat are proposing a live stream at the Denny's. Why the hell not? As long as you get me a moons over my hammy, I'm down.
It's on the cards though for 2026, guys. We're working on it.
Yeah, that live show, man. We so want to do it for you guys in 2026. Hopefully, it's nothing but shenanigans and ridiculousness, and we again have some great memories. Damn, gonna miss y'all. Till 2026. One thing left to say, right, Ananda?
Dale.
Jesus.